Welcome to We Are Women, Unapologetically, the podcast that talks about the good, bad, ugly, and awesome. Careers, life transitions, confidence, and everything in between. Because shift happens, but you don't have to do it alone.
12 years after my mom passed, I finally got to lay roses on her grave. It was my grandmother's dying wish that her daughter be buried with her. And when I stood there, seeing my mom's name etched into the headstone for the very first time, it was surreal. It was peaceful, it was emotional, it was closure. And here's what struck me about that moment is that even though my mom's title as mother ended in this life, her presence and her power are still with me. And the same thing goes for my grandmother. Because the titles change, the chapter closes, but the power that you carry forward, that never dies. Your title was never your power. You are. Welcome to We Are Women Unapologetically. I am Jessica Cumming, and today we are talking about the moment that you realize that the label was never the thing. You were, and you always will be. This one's for you if you've ever felt the ground shift when a title disappeared, when manager turned into laid off, when wife turned into divorced, when caregiver turned into what now, when daughter turned into silence. Titles are fragile. They are given, they are taken away, they are etched in stone, they are gone overnight. And when we build our whole sense of self around them, we crumble when they do. I used to think that losing a title meant losing myself. By standing at that grave in August, I realized something, that my mom didn't stop being my mom when she died. My grandma didn't stop shaping me when her body gave out. The roles shifted, but the power stayed. And if you've been clinging to a title that is slipping through your fingers right now, if you have been wondering who you are or will be without it, I need you to know something. Research shows that 75% of women tie their identity to their roles: mother, wife, leader, caregiver. And when one of those roles ends, the grief that comes with it can last 6 months up to 2 years. So if you're feeling lost right now, I want you to know that you are not alone. You are human. So let's talk about it. August of this year, I stood at my grandmother's grave. She passed in July of 2024, and it was her final wish to have my mother, her daughter, buried with her. My mom died 12 years ago, and for years I had seen and held her urn as it sat in my grandmother's house. But during COVID, my grandma let me know that her wish was to have her daughter buried with her. I told her it didn't matter to me. I told her if that's what she wanted, then absolutely, she should be buried with her daughter, her best friend. I knew it was the right thing to do, and I knew it would give me comfort in knowing that they were together, but I didn't truly understand the emotions that would come with it, along with the sense of closure. And it wasn't until 13 months after they were buried that I got to see her name in the headstone for the first time. I went to the grave like any other time that I had visited in the last 13 months, but this time I had roses in hand. I was putting 3 by my mom and 3 by my grandma. And as I bent down to place them and found her name etched in the stone for the first time, my hands were shaking. Not from status, not even really from grief, but from release, from closure. My chest felt heavy and open at the same time. My throat caught, and not just because I was holding back tears, but because I was swallowing reality. A whole chapter of my life was now sealed in stone. And beneath the grief, there was a steady hum of peace. It was like something whispered, "You honored them. They are there with you. You're not alone." And I wasn't just honoring my mom, I was honoring my grandmother's wish. And I was honoring the women who raised me. Both of them were strong, both of them were fierce, but both of them are still guiding me. Even without the title of daughter or granddaughter in the way that I used to hold it, I know that they are both still with me. And that's when it hit me. The title didn't hold the power. I did. Because my mom taught me to be independent, my grandma taught me to be grounded and charitable, And those lessons, they didn't die with them. The roles have shifted, but the essence of what they gave me, that has stayed with me. And I wonder if you felt like this too. Maybe not with death, but maybe something else. Maybe you lost a job title and suddenly you didn't know how to introduce yourself. Maybe your kids moved out and mom stopped being a full-time identity. Maybe you walked away from a marriage and wife no longer fits. Maybe you have been caregiving for so long that you forgot who you were before. And now you're standing there thinking, who am I without this? I need to tell you something. You are still you. The title gave you a stage to use your power, but the power, it has always been yours, and it will continue to go wherever you go. So let's talk about your version of this, because I know it's not exactly the same as mine, but the sting, that might still be familiar. Maybe you're the woman who just got laid off after years of climbing the corporate ladder, and now when someone asks you, what do? You stumble, because for so long, your answer was easy. I'm the director of whatever. And now you're not sure. Or maybe you're the woman whose youngest just left for college and the house is quiet in a way that feels too quiet. Because mom wasn't just what you did, it was who you were. And now you're sitting there wondering, what do I do with my time? Or maybe you walked away from a relationship that wasn't even serving you anymore, and you know it was the right decision, but there's still this weird, hollow feeling when you say, I'm single, because wife or partner gave you a sense of belonging. And now you are trying to figure out how to belong to yourself. Or maybe you've been caring for aging grandparents or parents, and either they've passed or they're in care now, and suddenly you have time again. But you don't know what to do with it because caregiver became your identity. And without it, you feel untethered. If any of this is you, I need you to hear me. The title was never the power. You always were, and you always will be. You are still the leader who inspires people even without director on your badge. You are still the nurturer who creates connection even if mom is in a daily role. You are still a partner to life itself, even if you are not partnered with someone else right now. You are still wise and strong, even if caregiving isn't filling your days. And here is something that you need to know. Research shows that women are 60% more likely than men to tie their identity to relational roles: mother, wife, daughter, caregiver. Which means those roles, when they shift, we feel it deeper. And the grief that comes with it, it is real. As I already mentioned, studies show it can take months, sometimes years, to feel steady again. So if you're wobbling right now, that is not weakness, that is just being human. But here's what I also know is that the people who recover their sense of self the fastest, they aren't the ones who immediately find a new role. They are the ones that realize the power is always portable. It doesn't need a label to exist. It just needs you to claim it. I want to pause here for a minute because if this episode is hitting harder than you expected, it's okay. Take a breath with me. You don't have to have it all figured out by the time this episode ends. You don't have to know who you are without your title today. All you need to do right now is hear yourself. Acknowledge what is shifting and trust that the woman beneath that label, she's still here. She's not going anywhere. All right, let's keep going. So here's a question that I kept asking myself after that day at the grave. If the title doesn't define me, what does? And I realized something, that the title was never holding me up. I was holding up the title. Think about it. You didn't get promoted to manager because someone liked the sound of your name. You got it because you were already leading. You did not become a caregiver because someone handed you a certificate. You stepped into it because compassion was already in you. You didn't earn expert status because of letters after your name. You became an expert because you had the knowledge and experience. The title just gave you permission to do what you were already capable of, which means the power, it's portable. It moves with you. So when the title shifts or ends, the question isn't, who am I? The question is, what do I carry forward? Now, let me show you what I mean, because if you were a manager and the title is gone, what strengths did you lose? Now, let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean. If you were a manager and the title is gone, what strengths did you use in that role? Maybe you were a problem solver, a mentor, a strategic thinker. Those don't need a title. You can still problem solve in your friend group. You can mentor someone going through a career change. You can think strategically about your own next chapter. If you were a full-time caregiver, the season might be over, but what did you bring? Maybe you were patient, attentive, an advocate. Those don't disappear. You can be patient with yourself as you rebuild. You can be attentive to what you need for the first time in years. And you can be an advocate for yourself in relationships where you have been silent. If you were a wife, that identity may have shifted, but what did you offer in that role? Maybe you're a peacemaker, a partner, someone who created stability. Those are still yours. You can create peace in every relationship you touch. You can partner with yourself, your community, your work. You can build sustainability on your own terms. Do you see what's happening here? The essence of who you are doesn't need a title to exist. The title just gave you a venue in order to express it. And when that venue closes, you don't lose that essence. You bring it somewhere new. You carry it with you. Now, I know this isn't easy, but research shows that people who focus on what they carry forward instead of what they lost, they experience 50% less anxiety during transitions. But knowing that doesn't just make the wobble go away. So if you are still feeling unsteady, that's normal. You're not doing it wrong. You are just doing it human. Now, I need to talk about what happens if we don't make this shift, because ignoring it, it costs us. If we keep clinging to expired titles, we start fighting for roles that no longer fit. We keep chasing validation instead of honoring our evolution. We shrink when a chapter ends instead of stepping into the next one. And the cost? It's years spent thinking you're not enough without the label. Your health erodes by trying to be someone you used to be. Dreams are delayed because you thought you needed permission. And relationships, they're strained because you are holding on to an identity that no longer serves you. But here's the one that breaks my heart the most. You spend so much energy grieving who you used to be that you never discover the person you're becoming. And I don't want that for you. Because when you let go of expired titles, when you embrace the transition instead of fighting it, here's what happens. You stop waiting, you start leading yourself. You stop shrinking, you start expanding. You stop asking, am I still relevant without this title? And you start knowing I'm relevant because I exist. Because at the end of the day, standing at my mother's grave, it taught me this. No one's going to remember your title. They are going to remember how you showed up. They are going to remember how you loved, how you led, how you carried your power unapologetically. All right, let's make this real. This week, I want you to do 3 things. And I don't mean just think about it or get to it when you can. I mean, actually do it. Write down or think about one title that has shifted or ended for you. Manager, wife, daughter, caregiver, mom, sister, whatever it is. Then I want you to think about or write down underneath it what is one strength that you brought to that role. Not a responsibility, a strength. Maybe it's leadership, empathy, patience, creativity, resilience. Then choose one way to use that strength this week. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be intentional. Maybe you mentor someone who needs guidance. Maybe you create a connection in your community. Maybe you use your resilience to help another woman going through something hard. Maybe you offer yourself the compassion that you have been giving everyone else. This is how you prove to yourself that your power isn't tied to your label. The label was just borrowing your light for a while, but now it's time to let it shine. And if you want help with it, download the Clarity in 10 Reset. It's free. I'll walk you through the space. And if you're really ready for support, if you are tired of feeling stuck and you want someone in your corner, book a free clarity call with me. We'll name what's shifting and map your next step, because you don't have to figure this out alone. One of my clients recently said to me, Jessica, I finally realized the title was never the thing. It was always me. That's it. That is the breakthrough. So if you know someone who needs to hear this, share this episode. Send it to the mom whose kid just left, the colleague who just got laid off, the friend navigating divorce, the woman who has been caregiving so long she forgot who she was underneath it all. Remind her that she is still powerful, she is still whole, she is still unapologetically her. All right. So again, download the Clarity 10 Reset, book the call if you're ready to go deeper, and connect with me on LinkedIn. You did not come this far to hand your power over to a title. You came here to carry it forward boldly, fiercely, unapologetically. So until next week, stay fierce, stay bold, but most importantly, stay unapologetically you.